Now it is about the high capacity transport trials in Finland in the timber transportation, and in Sweden Skogforsk has been very eager and one very important to get everything happened. I think we wouldn't have had this high capacity transport project. And you know, Metsäteho is the same thing in Finland as Skogforsk in Sweden. So please, Pirjo, I know you work as senior researcher at Metsäteho. It will be interesting to hear what you say about the Finnish test.
Okay, thank you. Can you see my video? Because I can.
No, so you need to try again, Pirjo.
Okay, because it's, let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, I have to open the.
Yeah, now it's coming. Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, and, I think this hopefully works as well. Yeah. Just take. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And so Metsäteho is a research and development company owned by the Finnish forest companies, and we coordinate companies' HCT research here in Finland as it regards to timber and chip transportation. And so here are the topics that we have found the most relevant when we want to understand what could be the pros and cons of heavier trucks. And we do some research ourselves, but we also follow all available research also carried out by universities and consultants and also authorities. And my presentation here provides an overview about the research, what's going on in Finland and what has been already finalized. And I only focus on trucks that are heavier than 76 tons. So in Finnish HCT trials, there have been timber trucks with a total weight from 84 tons to 104 tons. And there are some trucks that are driving directly from forest to mills, vis-a-vis 84 tonners, and the bigger trucks that are called so-called terminal trucks. So they only drive from terminals to mills. And so these forest trucks, they also use gravel roads and even private road network. But the biggest ones, they only use paved roads. And for chip transportation, also here, the big trucks that are in trials, the total weight varies from 84 tons to 100 tons. And at least so far, these heavy trucks in trials have been only used for transport of byproduct chips. It means that they have regular routes from sawmills to paper or pulp mills. But there could be also potential for use of large trucks for transport of energy wood chips if they are comminuted at terminals. And this comminution at terminals is getting more common and common, at least in Finland. So what is going on right now? Since the companies have now gained a few years of experience with trucks of more than 76 tons in Finland. What we are planning to do this winter is that we interview transport and forest companies and also manufacturers of trucks, trailers, and coupling devices, and we try to find so-called perfect HCT truck in what would be the best measures and weights and number of axles and other properties that would make that big truck suitable for different types of timber and chips. And of course, that truck should be not only efficient for transportation, but also good for environment and for safety, and wouldn't cause too much problems on various types of roads. So Now I present some calculations from trucks that are involved in these trials. And here one must remember that all these trial trucks are individuals, and they use these specific routes. So it's a bit difficult to generalize the results to national level. But anyway, here are the results from the actual trial trucks. And in Finland, when it comes to this fuel consumption, so the average distance for timber transportation is about 100 kilometers. And here you can see that here the heavier trucks are more fuel efficient than the current trucks if you count that per transported cubic meter. So in this slide, you can see our calculation of how much these heavier trucks would help us to achieve the emission reduction targets of Finland. So these heavy trucks are compared to a 60-ton truck. That was the truck size used in 2005. That is the reference year for this emission reduction target. And so if you take into account only the truck size, so in that case you could face emission reduction of even 25 to 35%. But of course, this is partly theoretical. But anyway, it provides some idea of how much this size change would impact on emissions. And about transport efficiency, here we have calculated that if all Finnish timber or chips would be transported with these heavier trucks, so how much less loads there would be needed every year. And this is in theory, so there could be even 250,000 less loads for timber and chips every year. But of course, in practice, it's not possible nor efficient to use at least the biggest trucks in all transport. So this is one of our targets for the winter to come, to find more realistic potential for these different sizes of trucks. So whether the biggest trucks bring transport costs savings depends on transport distance again here. And one big challenge is when we discuss of timber is that there is this terminal stage if the timber needs to be transported from a forest load with a smaller total weight to a bigger terminal truck. So this transfer from a forest truck to a terminal truck causes some extra costs. But on the other hand, there are also some benefits with using terminals. For example, it's quite natural that in a spring-fall period that you need to use terminals, but also some transport companies, they use terminals all year around in timber transportation because they think that it brings some flexibility in the use of the vehicles and also drivers. So again, this is one of the topics that we will need to continue working with. Some transport companies are using these kind of swap bodies. Then they are transferring timber from a forest truck to a bigger terminal truck. And so this is one of the solutions that you can use to make this terminal stage faster and more cost efficient and also flexible in terms of transport planning of several trucks. In some cases, or in some degree, forest companies, they have to transport timber from one mill to another, since not all mills use the same type of timber, or not at least at the same amount. And in this type of transportation, heavier trucks are very efficient. So we have cost savings of 10 to 20% per cubic meter. It's the same for byproduct chips, that when you are transporting chips from a sawmill to a pulp or paper mill, so these heavier trucks can easily bring cost savings. We have calculated that they are from 5 to 15% per cubic meter, depending on the size of the heavy truck. I don't go to the details of traffic safety questions, but here you can see the studies that have been carried out in Finland. And to our knowledge, there are no major traffic safety questions that would require further research when it comes to these heavier trucks, but maybe Finnish authorities may correct me if I'm wrong about this. Since forest sector uses the most of the Finnish road network, including private roads and gravel roads and so on, so this road wear and bridge wear question is the big one and very complicated one question. How much of that network we could use to use even heavier than 76 ton vehicles. As you can see, there have been some road wear studies in Finland in the past few years, and it seems that for roads with thick pavements, there should not be at least any major problems with heavy trucks. But there are a lot of roads with thin pavements and of course gravel roads, and there are probably much more problems, and in some cases the research results are not so clear. And we actually hope that there are going to be more research next year, both in roads and bridge wear, so that we would be so that we would know more about the impacts in different areas in Finland. As actually Vesa already mentioned about this winter premium project, so this is a project by University of Oulu and Finnish Meteorological Institute, and this is just started this year, so it's quite in the beginning. But they are studying this kind of concept that there would be higher weights at the time when the road structure is frozen. They are studying both gravel roads and a paved road. At Metsäteho, we are trying to find new tools, new kind of technologies to reduce road wear, and also when it comes to current so-called normal trucks with 76 tons. And we are hoping that with these new tools we might find like more potential routes also for these HCT trucks as well. So another major topic that that needs further research is finding potential corridors for trucks more than 76 tons. As it was mentioned, it's not sure if these kind of corridors will be presented or not. But anyway, we want to have a research on this and try to find the possible solutions. And so here we have identified various types of corridors that would be needed, both in timber and chip transportation. So we are like some corridors are more direct from a forest, and some are for between mills, and some are from terminals to mills. As I mentioned, this corridor topic is one of the major themes that we need to focus more on in the future, and we simply even need to know more about the current transport flows, because there are some problems with the regional transport flow statistics, and of course we need to know more about the current state of road infrastructure in different areas of Finland. And so when we know more about the flows and the status of infrastructure, so that would help to define that kind of HCT corridors that would provide most savings, both in terms of costs and also fuel consumption, but also that kind of corridors that would require only some reasonable investments in infrastructure. University of Lappeenranta, they have carried a couple of regional simulation studies to find the best location for possible HCT terminals for timber. And so this is the case, as I explained before, that if a timber is needed to be transported from a forest truck to this bigger terminal truck. And since forest sector uses all Finland for its transportation, so also these types of simulations would be needed for all country, and hopefully we will continue with this theme later. Bigger trucks, of course, they mean less need for truck drivers when there's the same transport volume. And since there have been for years a big problem with the driver shortage in the forest sector, so here we see that the use of bigger trucks is more solution than a threat to the labor market. And at least so far, we haven't heard that there would be opinions against this idea. Okay, so here's the link to our website where we have collected all that type of Finnish research that has something to do with the timber or chip transportation, and also our own overview reports, one for increasing lengths and one for increasing masses. And there's going to be an update of this mass report in a few weeks. Unfortunately, most of this material is in Finnish only, but of course there are a lot of graphs and so on that you can probably understand even what is in Finnish. And there's going to be also this kind of summary in English available also in a few weeks. So thank you. This was all from me.
Pirjo, and we still have 5 minutes to the next speaker. So I got one question here, and I also have one from my own. And it would be interesting to compare these figures you have also with the EU with 40 tons. Then it will be even more difference. So, but I guess that is an extra job for you. But or do you have you done that? I think it's not so interesting for you. It could be interesting for other countries, but have you done such comparison?
No, we haven't, and I don't know if we even have but figures for timber trucks especially, but of course we can find out. So this is an interesting suggestion if you just find the number.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting, like I said, for countries further down in Europe if they want to implement like high capacity transports. Then I have one question myself. It is this about frozen ground, this research project. First, when will it be finalized? And is also the road administration, like Vaila, are they involved in that, or is it just other companies?
Yeah, actually, Vesa Mannis from Transport Agency is also involved in a steering group.
Good.
But it's mainly financed by this EU structural funds. And well, since it was just started in the beginning of the summer, I think they do the first research, some measurements on the roads this winter and the next one. So it's going to take at least a couple of years, but I'm sure they're going to publish some interim reports before even maybe next summer or something like that. But
yeah, thank you. Yeah, because we have had discussions about that in Sweden too, possibilities with that. And I think also in Norway that they already has used that in some parts, at least of Norway.
Okay.
I don't know, Elin, are you still there if you know that, but I think it has been used, higher limitations when it's frozen ground, but maybe I'm just dreaming. Are you still there, Elin? No. No, Elin was not there, so you had to ask her another time.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, but thank you again, Pirjo, for this. It was interesting.